Right now, picture this. You're standing at a busy intersection. People are just rushing past you. Over there, a woman is laughing into her phone. Down the street, there's an exhausted construction worker heading home, his shoulders heavy. There's a child staring out a bus window, an elderly man feeding pigeons, and on a passing train, a teenager is crying silently. Now, suddenly, just freeze everything. Look at these ordinary faces. Because right now, in this frozen moment, one of these people is probably falling in love for the very first time. Someone else, they just lost the most important person in their life. Another is secretly celebrating beating cancer. And another is wondering if life is even worth living anymore. You don't know any of them, but each of them is the main character of a story, just as complicated and just as deep as yours. It's a pretty staggering thought, isn't it? What if every single stranger you pass on the street is living an entire universe you will never see? Every person you kind of just treat as a background extra in your day is actually the center of their own world. Today, in this explainer, we're going to explore a really profound, almost hidden law of reality that exists right in front of us every single day, completely unseen. Let's dive right into the hidden universe around you and discover the law of Sonder. Imagine for a second that every single person around you is carrying around an invisible movie inside their mind. It's a movie filled with their own inside jokes, childhood traumas, secret ambitions, favorite songs, random fears, people they miss, and people they've loved. There's actually a word for this. It's called Sonder. It's the profound realization that each random passerby has a life as vivid and complex as your own. And honestly, grasping this, it completely shifts how we view the people we usually treat as mere background extras. They aren't just walking props in your movie. They're experiencing their own rich, vivid reality, complete with dreams, regrets, and family problems, all happening simultaneously, literally right next to you. But why do we naturally feel central? Let's look at the psychology of the self. So why exactly do our brains naturally trick us into feeling like we are the absolute center of existence? What you're about to hear actually changes the way psychologists think about empathy. You see, ignoring the complexity of others isn't because we're bad people. It's literally a feature of our psychology. We walk through life trapped in what's known as the spotlight effect, basically feeling like we're bathed in a literal spotlight, prioritizing our own experiences and assuming everyone is watching us. To step outside of that, we have to use our theory of mind. That's the cognitive ability to recognize that other people have their own entirely distinct beliefs, desires, and emotions. But the catch? Accessing that external blind spot requires conscious, deliberate effort. To really understand how we filter out the world, let's look at these specific cognitive mechanisms. First, cognitive bias. This acts as a massive mental shortcut, aggressively prioritizing our own needs and experiences so we just don't get completely overwhelmed. Empathy, the ability to truly feel another person's situation, requires us to actively bypass those biases. And then we have mirror neurons. These are these fascinating structures in our brain that actually allow us to physically reflect and feel another person's emotions. But, and this is a big but, they only really fire up when we finally stop and pay attention to someone else. Which brings us to the invisible movie of life, focusing on a single random stranger. Let's step out of the psychology lab for a minute and onto the street. Here's where it becomes a bit unsettling. Imagine quietly following just one random, seemingly ordinary woman as she leaves her office building. To anyone walking by, she's just another commuter in a coat, holding a coffee, right? Completely ordinary. But here is her hidden reality. Step 1. She just became a mother and her mind is absolutely racing with anxiety about paying rent this month. Step 2. After work, she goes straight home to patiently care for her father, who is battling Alzheimer's. And step 3, late at night, she secretly reads letters from her late husband just to hear his voice in her head again. Nobody walking beside her on the sidewalk knows about this incredible emotional weight, and neither did we. Now imagine repeating this exercise with dozens, hundreds, thousands of strangers. This invisible complexity is literally everywhere. Let's zoom out and look at science and ancient philosophy to understand exactly why we filter the world. So if everyone is carrying this much depth, why are we so blind to it? Well, the answer lies in human evolution. Our brains simply evolved to prioritize our own survival. And to do that effectively, your brain is forced to filter out billions of details every single second. Just look at what is happening inside your head at any given moment. Your neural networks are rapidly firing, memory formation is constantly logging your day, and your emotion processing centers are working overtime just to manage your own life. Because your brain is so unbelievably busy surviving and managing your own perspective, recognizing the rich inner worlds of others requires an immense, energy-draining amount of conscious effort. It's just way too much data for our biology to handle passively. Now, take that intense, conscious, mental effort required to truly understand the depth of just one single person, and imagine multiplying that by 8 billion. Yeah, 8 billion entirely separate, infinitely complex universes, all happening at the exact same time on this planet. It is a scale of human experience that is almost impossible to fully comprehend. And here's the part almost nobody thinks about. Long before neuroscience and psychology, our greatest thinkers were obsessed with this exact idea. Across human history, vast and entirely different philosophies independently reached this exact same realization about our shared universal human condition. Stoicism recognized that every human experiences suffering and fears loss. Buddhism recognized that every human seeks meaning and will eventually disappear. Existentialism argued that every human loves and must create their own purpose. Underneath the surface, we're all navigating the exact same fundamental journey. Let's look at what happens when entire universes collide, like simply passing someone in the grocery store. Let's flip the mirror for a second. What if someone out there remembers you the exact same way you remember strangers? Think back to a completely ordinary, forgettable day. You were just running errands, and one day someone passed you in a grocery store aisle. Pause and just consider that moment. To you, that person was just background noise, just a fleeting blur in the movie of your life, someone in the way of the cereal you wanted to buy. But later that exact same day, that blurry stranger went on to experience the most pivotal moment of their existence. Maybe they proposed to the love of their life, or they buried their father, or maybe they sat in a doctor's office and heard the terrifying words, "You have cancer." The highest peak or the lowest devastation of their entire life happened mere hours after they walked past you. You never knew. You went home, unpacked your groceries, and lived your life, completely unaware of the monumental shift in theirs. And they never knew you existed. To them, you were just a blur in the background on the most important day of their life. But for one brief, completely unacknowledged moment in that grocery store aisle, two entire, infinitely complex universes crossed paths. 2 lifetimes of victories, mistakes, heartbreak, and dreams shared the exact same physical space for 3 seconds, and then drifted apart forever. Which brings us to the greatest act of wisdom as we look forward. Picture those crowds again, the cities at sunset, the busy train stations. Every single face you ignore, every person you walk past today, carries a lifetime of memories just as vivid as your own. They have inside jokes you won't understand, regrets that keep them up at night, and hopes that keep them going. Which brings us to a final thought. Perhaps the greatest act of wisdom isn't becoming more important. It's remembering that everyone else already is. Tomorrow, when you walk past a stranger, pause for just 1 second. Just acknowledge them, because they may be living the most important day of their life right in front of you. If this explainer changed how you see the world, share it with someone who really needs this exact reminder today. Until next time, keep exploring the hidden depths around you.